Good morning. Great to be with you this morning for Daylight with Dean number 8. Woohoo! We've made it over a week now on April 19th, 2020. I'm so grateful that you've decided to spend just a few minutes this morning with us. Hopefully before many of us take the time to worship with our church or find a church online that we can experience being able to focus on something and someone who helps put things in perspective. And so I hope that we can look forward to that this morning. But one of the things that has amused me is all the suggestions that I've been getting about this period of time, what I should call it, what I should include in it. I'll share a couple of them with you now. Our worship leader, Jesse, who is not prone to be thriving early in the morning, he said, Dean, you really ought to name it Way Too Early with Dean. And I'm like, well, that loses the alliteration of Daylight with Dean. But thank you for the suggestion. And then yesterday, Les and I went for a walk, and we walked 2 streets over to our daughter's and Tyler's place, and over to walked across the street to my in-laws. And my father-in-law was so excited to tell us about a book he's reading on germs. And when he was in the military in the 50s, straight out of college, he worked in Frederick, Maryland at a lab and is familiar with all this kind of stuff. And so he said to me a couple things. He said, Dean, you need to, on your next Daylight with Dean, this is my 85-year-old father-in-law, he said, Dean, you need to, on the next Daylight with Dean, ask everybody when the last time they remember being quarantined is this way. And my mother-in-law, my wife, and I looked at him like, Dad, we've not, the whole world has not been quarantined like this before. He said, oh, no. When I was a boy, when smallpox was going on, we had this quarantine, and Carol's like, Doug, it wasn't smallpox, it was chickenpox. Oh yeah, chickenpox. So when chickenpox hit a household, they would go in and put a big sign on the front door and quarantine that family, and nobody was allowed to leave that house for a period of time, extended period of time. And so then my mother-in-law wanted Doug to know that, of course, not many people would have a memory of that because of his age. And then my father-in-law, was a great recommendation. He said, well, Dean, you ought to really encourage the old folks on here like me to go ahead and comment in their own little section on the Daylight with Dean. So I just wanted to invite you, if you're 80 years old or over and watching this, feel free to give a shout out to say Old Folks Corner here or something along those lines per my father-in-law Doug's recommendation. Mom and Dad, I hope you're having a great morning and look forward to seeing you again soon. One of the questions that I've not been asked, which has amused me, I've kind of been surprised, is are you wearing pants? That may sound like a strange question, but that's the joke that's going around with everybody staying home and everybody doing all their work via video. Are they wearing pants when they do it? Well, yes, just so you know, I am wearing pants, so we're covered. But the same could not be said for yesterday. Wait, let me explain. I was wearing pants when I filmed this. But remember yesterday I talked about the big projects and going out and doing stuff and getting things done and all that stuff. Well, my wife threw out a project to me. She said, Dean, do you remember when we had our kitchen done and we went to the granite place and they had an extra 4-foot countertop of granite and they sold it to us for $50. And you know how it's been leaning against the wall in our bedroom for 9 years. She said, I think I have a use for it. Upstairs in our bedroom that guests stay. My wife's put a little desk in this little cubby hole, and it's a small desk, and that's where she's been teaching and doing her work. And so she asked, could you measure and see if that'll fit in that cubby hole on top of the desk, and then I'll have a larger surface and I can eat up there and not worry about it and that kind of thing. So I said, sure. So I measured, and it was going to fit perfectly. The thing that I underestimated was how heavy the countertop was. Now, my son was outside shooting basketball, and so I thought, well, my strong 17-year-old daughter, Ruby, and I can get this. So we leaned it over. I picked up one end, she picked up the other, and she's like, Dad, I can't, it's too heavy, it's too heavy. So I said, hold on. So I shimmied over to more of the middle of it. So I'm almost at the middle of it, and she has the end, and it's the heaviest thing I've lifted in quite some time. So we start heading up the steps the whole time, quite concerned that we are not going to be able to make it up the steps. I get halfway up the steps, and I have my phone in my pocket of my sweatpants, and my string tie on my sweatpants doesn't work anymore. And the weight of my cell phone and walking up the steps, my sweatpants start to fall down. And I'm like, I can't do anything. I get halfway up the steps, and all of a sudden, my sweatpants are around my ankles. And yes, I'm wearing underwear, but there I am. I can't do anything but keep going. So I continue to carry this couple 100-pound piece of granite upstairs with my sweatpants around the ankle. We get to the top of the steps. There's nothing more that can be done. My wife's laughing at me. My son comes in from outside. He's laughing at me. My daughter is disgusted. We finally get the piece maneuvered into the room she's using for an office on top of the desk, and it fit perfectly, but my sweatpants didn't. So I yanked those back up, and so just if you were wondering, that was my I'm not wearing pants story. But probably a little too much for Sunday morning, isn't it? Sorry about that. I want to leave you with something that a friend told me yesterday. I asked Jennifer Carhalta how she was doing via Messenger, and she responded, and she said, we're managing. And then she made one of my favorite statements of the day. She said, we are all working on deeper levels of grace. That's for sure. And I thought, what a profound, beautiful way to look at what we're figuring out and navigating right now. We're all working on deeper levels of grace. That's for sure. And so as we wrap this up today, I just want to ask you, where in your life do you need a deeper level of grace? In what relationship do you need to be working on a deeper level of grace? I think that's a beautiful notion, and I hope that you and I will live with deeper levels of grace today. Hey, since it's Sunday morning, I just want to give you a shout out and let you know that the River New Kensington's worship experience is going to be streaming at 8 a.m. We moved it an hour and a half early for those early birds out there like you. It's going to be streaming at 8 a.m. on the River New Ken Facebook page and also the River New Ken YouTube channel. You can search both of those on Facebook and YouTube and find those streaming at 8 a.m. and then again at our regular time at 9:30. So I want to see how the 8 a.m. service went. And I really do hope that you'll connect with a worship experience today online so that you can be connected and so that you too can be encouraged to work on a deeper level of grace. God bless you. Have a great day.